Hello, my name is Father Mark Payton. I'm the parish priest of the Sacred Heart Parish in Highgate, and I'm here to give you a quick reflection on the reason for my hope. When I think about that question, it brings to mind a question before that: what is hope? And our church teaches us that our hope is a theological virtue, basically a virtue that connects us to God, unites us to God. Faith, hope and love. Faith, it directs our mind, it tells us what we are to hope for, but hope is that virtue that really directs our heart to what is to be loved. So hope is that virtue that keeps us moving forward in our faith, especially with the challenges that we can face along the way. And so the reason for my hope, for our hope, I believe ultimately it's in the reality of God's presence in our lives. To give you an example from the Old Testament, there is the account of Moses. God asked Moses to go to Egypt and to confront Pharaoh, probably one of the most powerful men in the ancient world. And Moses is reluctant. Moses said, "Why choose me? Who am I to go to this man?" But God says to Moses, "I will be with you." And that presence and that promise gives Moses the strength to follow God's plan and to go to Pharaoh to liberate God's people. I think another good example of hope, and the reason for our hope, is in the New Testament. We hear in the Gospel about the disciples who were in the upper room after our Lord's death and resurrection, and they are fearful. They think they are the next to be crucified, and so they are in the upper room, the doors are locked, and they are afraid. But God breaks into this room. God is present with the disciples, and that presence gives them a new hope. So much so they throw open the doors and go out and proclaim the gospel without fear, which brings about conversions. And I think in our own lives we can experience this hope, a hope we see in the scriptures. We can be like Moses or the disciples and look at our past sins, our failures, our weaknesses, and we can say, "Who am I that God would want to use me?" I think we need to place our hope in the reality that God is with us, God is present, God is working on us, and that gives us the courage to move forward with generosity. With this hope in God's presence, we can be certain that we will continue to grow in holiness, no matter what struggles we face along the way. The season of Advent is a great time of hope. In this season, the Church gives us the ultimate reason for our hope. In this season of Advent, we meditate on the Incarnation, the mystery that God wanted to reveal himself and be present to us to such an extent that he became one of us. And of course, in a tangible way, God remains present with us through the Church and the sacraments. And with this presence of God, we have a reason for hope. And the greater we draw close to the Lord and allow his presence in our lives, the greater our hope.